What's up, everyone? I'm LTJ Reeves. This is Throwing Light. And if you're not throwing light, you're not acting right. I have the Goddess Indigo. I finally have gotten you on my show. This is the interview I've been waiting for to have you here. So thank you so much for being a part of this.
I'm honored to be here. Thank you so much for your patience while we worked it all out.
No,
Thank you.
you're fine. You're busy. And I just want to say that I would not be sitting here in this spot if it weren't for you. You are my biggest inspiration. You are that person. I got to compete with you in Mr. Texas. I wanted to be by your side. You saw me at IML in my head and all that type of stuff. You judge me. I got Mr. Austin Eagle. We have a connection. And I have just been, ever since you stepped on that Texas stage and won that sash, I'm like, I want her respect. That's whose respect I want. And when I come and do this show, when I'm doing things, I'm thinking about unity. I'm thinking, is God is going to be proud of what I'm doing? So I just
Oh,
want to let
wow.
you know that. I want to
LT,
let you know that this is,
TJ, thank you
and you
so
know I
much.
speak. Do you know I speak truth and I'm honest
Yes,
and transparent. I am being dead serious with you, and I would not be sitting here if it weren't for you. So I just want you to know that.
I remember after Mr. Texas, we sat and we stood and had a conversation, and I told you you had a lot of work to do, and that this was that wasn't your platform then.
Mm.
Do you remember that conversation?
Remember, yes,
And
yes,
I said, You're going to do the work regardless. And I'm looking forward to seeing uh, uh, what you manifest.
yeah.
And look at you now. Look at you now. So no, I've been watching you. I've been watching your growth. And what I love most about your journey is your vulnerability as you do this. You don't speak as if you're perfect and life is wonderful. I mean, you give them the lows and the highs. And I just I see you and I appreciate
I
you.
appreciate it. I want vulnerability to be a strength. And I feel as long as I am being a human being, it is wrong for people to hurt me in my community. They're trying to dehumanize us, and I'm making sure that everybody, I'm not different, Goddess, I'm not removing people from my Facebook page and all that. I want them to see me. I want them to see what I go through and how I'm going to suffer because of decisions they made. There's no need.
Wow.
I'm too strong of a person to dismiss people. No, you're going to watch what you did, and I'm going to be vocal about it. So there's never been a thought of mine, oh, I'm going to remove. No, you watch it. You're watching me. You're following me. So you're seeing what we're going through. So I will not let them not see what they have done. That's kind of my mission.
Wow. Well, that is a powerful why. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you.
Yeah. So you're
Ooh,
here, but don't you get it? Like if they don't see
yes.
us, if they don't see us, they don't see the pain. And they need to see the pain of what they're doing. And so, even with Black History Month, I try to be somewhat consistent of making a post about that every day because these people are just being foolish and don't realize until I mean, it's too late at this point for them to take back their vote. But you people that aren't aware of what's going on in our community, in our country, make foolish decisions when they don't know what they're doing. And this is a situation where, for me, my stomach turns when I hear LGB without the T. Like I'm physically ill. You get what I'm saying? And
Yes.
we have somehow our trans people are now the scapegoat to turn a blind eye to all of this crime. And that's a problem. And the thing is that if we don't keep the humanity in our community and make them understand that we hurt, we bleed, we die, then they think we're a novelty. They think we're stereotypes. But this is real life. This is our lives and what we go through. And you know that. You've been around the world now. But I guess what I would love to have this conversation with you, how do we stay together? How do we motivate? How do we stay encouraged right now? Because I don't want our community to fall into depression by summer and feel like we can't do anything.
That's a heavy, heavy question because so many of us are already exhausted. And we took such a blow when the elections happened. Well, we'll speak about the United States first, and then we can talk about a more global view. And it's not as if everyone's not watching what's happening here anyway. And we know what the majority of the opinions are about the situation that we've gotten ourselves into.
Yeah.
Um, what we can do is continue to be there for each other, continue to do the work. You're out here making sure that you're seen, you're heard, you're providing visibility, you're throwing light. So everyone's path is different. Not everyone can be on camera like us.
Yeah.
Not everyone can be marching at the Capitol because of their jobs, their livelihoods, their family. There's a lot of different reasons why, and we need to validate that. Not all of us can be stomping around the Capitol, being on camera, doing this type of front-facing work. This is great. What's happening behind the scenes is integral. Who's out there making sure that everyone is aware of the policies? Who's making sure that we're dropping cards? Are we going and making sure that our voices are heard? Are we calling our government officials to let them know that we have issues with what's going on? Are we blowing up those phone lines? Are we creating the connections necessary? Um, when we have achievable goals, measured milestones that we can meet and make, it creates synergy. So the issue right now, in my opinion, is we have these grand ideas of what needs to happen, but the achievable steps to create that are lacking. So everyone is upset because we have a an administration that we don't approve of, that is doing all these things that are wrong, morally bankrupt, and detrimental to us as just human beings. So what do we do with that energy? That's where we find sustainability, is focusing that in a direction and creating movement. So what does that look like? Like I said, some of us are marching, some of us are rallying, some of us are stockpiling needed medications. Some
Yeah.
of us are creating an underground.
Yeah.
Some of us are getting burner phones. Some of us are making those low tech survival mechanisms a reality, like telephone trees, so that if we end up without a lot of the technology that we need, or we need to go underground because we're under attack, we have ways of communicating with each other and have a system in place so that we can support each other globally. So those are the steps that need to be done, and we need people to be doing that.
I mean, so I'm at the point where I'm like, if I'm to work with this person, if I'm into do whatever connection I have into moving the community forward, I shouldn't have to push. And I felt lately that I'm pushing people. And I had to take a step back and reflect and be, maybe not everyone shows passion like me, obviously, in the way that I do. And everyone probably feels different about what's going on, and they're trying to deal with it and try to be proactive in those ways. Um, but it still feels like I'm trying to convince people that we're in danger. And that's where I get confused because I'm like, aren't you not like I tell everybody, this is what's happening. Now they took the T away and anything that they don't like QIA gone, all right? Then you have LGB, right? I said, then I identifying bisexual, pansexual man, B is gone next because there's no in between. You're either gay or straight. Then they leave gay and straight. Then they start targeting gay men, feminizing them, but they leave the L. And they leave the L because if two women are together, that's a straight man's fantasy. So that's okay. That's what it was like before then, don't you? Am I right? So, it's,
Yes, you're right.
yeah. I mean, that's the order. It feels like the pecking order that's going to happen. So, obviously, gay marriage is going to be the next thing they want to get rid of, marriage equality.
Yes. In fact, I think is it Alabama? There's a state right now where it's where they're
Idaho,
scrutinizing.
Idaho.
Is it Idaho? They're scrutinizing it right now to see about getting rid of it. So, okay, so a couple of things when it comes to this is uh it's it's privilege. That's the issue, privilege. If you are passing in some way, it's much like racism, right? If you're
Yeah.
passing in some way, then sometimes there are some of us that think, okay, I can get away with this and I will not pay the price that everyone else is paying.
Yeah.
That's privilege. Unfortunately, we're all painted with the same brush. And the way to get rid of something that you don't want, well, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So the first bite is trans. You're right. They're going to come for us one by one. I was laughing about you saying that two lesbians is a fantasy.
Yeah.
Um, there are, especially in the past, that was something that was considered much more innocuous, not as dangerous, right? But at
But
the
you
end of the
can't be a
day, all
woman.
of us.
At the same time, you can't be like a masculine presenting woman, though. You can't be that. It has to be a feminist, a feminine woman, right?
There's all kinds of rules and regulations about how we can be more appealing or palatable to those of us that are against us, right? But at the end of the day, we are all under attack. There is a plan to remove us, and it is in full effect. And the fact that you hide your head in the sand doesn't make it less true.
Yeah.
Period. End of subject. Um, and as far as what you're saying about trying to get people to move, I have found that you can't make anyone do anything.
I know. I know.
You can't make, you can't make them feel anything. You can't make them do anything. What you can do is you.
Yeah.
And when you are doing your work and you are following your value system, leading with your heart, others that are like you will find you. When I came into this community, there was little nobody that looked like me. Nobody. And I kept my head down, I did the work, and I looked up and there my people were. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
you you do the work and birds of a feather flock together. You will find like people because they will see you, it will resonate, and they will be there with you doing it. But trying to convince someone that they're in danger, they're not going to see it until
It's real.
the target is on their back, and that's unfortunate. We can't save them all, but the ones that are with us, we're going to work really hard, and we're going to make this happen. We're going to make this happen. Don't get disheartened by those that don't have your vision. Don't get disheartened by those that don't have your heart, because at the end of the day, they're going to be dead weight. It's better for you to know now, early on, while you prepare for your marathon, than have that albatross around your neck. So I consider it shedding yourself of weight that you didn't need.
Yes.
If they can't hear your message and know that what you're saying means something and matters, then those aren't the ears they weren't meant that it was meant for.
I think up and I just, I'm in like therapy and EDR for all these things and traumas, but I think that I have been putting a lot of pressure on myself to change the world, and that's not a one person job.
No,
Um,
it takes at least three people. I'm kidding.
or just enough to build a spaceship so we can leave. I am still navigating how, as you put it, be a good community servant. And I see leader used very recklessly. And but I think you're right. I think in terms of doing your own thing and seeing people see what impacts you're making if you keep consistent in doing it. And I guess I like I think that you have done a great job. I mean, you have the community's trust, and I've just wanted the community's trust. And to believe that if I say we're in danger, we're in danger. But we're still at the beginning of the rollout. And so many people don't understand what's being taken away right now, but I think ultimately we're here, Goddess. We didn't ask to be born, but this is the time period we're on, and we know our history and what came before. And I'm just kind of like, well, if this is what I'm here for, this is what I'm here for, right? We're here to try to save our community and keep us from disappearing, right? Here's my next question. Do you think reinvention is something that the community might need?
What do you mean by reinvention?
Let's
Unpack that word for me.
this is like it's not, I'm not being realistic, but let's say they wiped all the letters away and that those letters were dirty words. Like let's
Hmm.
say 2 years from now, if when like a racist or a that administration supporters hear LGBTQI plus, that means something. It's like how they're using DEI. My
Okay.
thing is like, are our letters now going to be trigger words to despise us? Does that make sense?
I understand what you're saying. Uh, I don't think repackaging it is going to make it any better. But I also want to say something that if you speak to our elders, you'll hear this. First, you'll hear, "I told you so." Okay, that's the first thing our elders are saying to us right now.
Yeah, yeah. No, you're right.
I MF told you so. Here we are again. But the other thing is, um, you can't get rid of us. We are here to stay. We have survived so much, and we will continue to survive. And in order to make it really spicy, we're going to thrive. Because that's the ultimate get back. We will make it through this. We will do this together. It's not going to be easy, but it is going to happen. Period. So remembering that might just kind of just help settle everyone a bit for the long haul, because this is not a sprint.
Yeah,
This is a marathon.
yeah.
So at the end of the day, I'm looking you in the eye, LTJ, and I'm saying, we're going to do this and we're going to do this together. And
I
we got
believe
this.
you. I believe you 100%. I believe in you. I know when you say you mean it, I'm right here with you. I want to go back to your point of passing. What we never talk about are all the trans people that are passing as the gender that they are not, and all the people that are queer that are living lives that they are not. Like there's this whole myth about just 10% of the population. I don't listen to any of that. Like we should be able to be born and perform who we are as we want to perform who we are. And I don't that should be regardless of gender, sexuality, race, or anything. But this is I used to have this mentality, oh, if you're not out, you're not. I don't want anything to do with you because you're not brave enough to be out there as who you are. And now my concern is that now it's going to make people less brave. We're going to have less trans people coming out. We're going to have less people coming out because they fear how they're going to be treated. Um, I guess how do where are some we've talked a lot about this. I guess we have to just be very very proactive in making sure that we are pushing the T element. But what I want to kind of say, so in my hometown of Lafayette, not hometown, one of my towns of Lafayette, Louisiana, the only gay bar that just shut down. Okay, so they don't have any gay spaces now. But at the same time, this demographic is very conservative, so the queer community leans conservative. So this was a community. I mean, so they when I was there and I was doing work in the community, I introduced the letter Q, and that was in 2013. And when I introduced that, they laughed, they mocked it. Some of the elder people felt like queer was like, gonna I mean, if you hear queer, you're gonna get beat up, that type of thing. But people of, my generation and stuff, they laughed. Like, who wants to be a Q? But they made fun of that. And you got those same people that would be glad to say LGB without the T. So like we have these people that are should be with us that aren't. And how do we handle those that are LGBT plus, but they are working against us?
Oof. There's no easy answer for that. I think it's a case by case basis. There are some that are misinformed, misguided, whatever, and communication could be useful, maybe, maybe. But at the end of the day, you can't. Our efforts are better served in working on what we can change, which is the momentum against us, getting in the way of the plans and the propaganda, making sure that we have clear communication. making sure that we have established communications in the areas where they've removed them, like the CDC, et cetera. Making sure that we have ways of making sure that we know when the next pandemic happens. We need to have ways of disseminating information, especially in the areas where the government has blocked it now. So those things we can do. What my neighbor thinks about me, fuck my neighbor. I've got work to do. And if somebody is in our community and has decided that they're better than or they're not the ones they're coming for, then I hope that they get those people first because we're going to do the work we need to do. Concentrating on what's not okay with them doesn't help us here. I believe in actionable goals that we can achieve. Changing hearts and minds, that's a hard one. And that's just not going to be my job. Now, somebody else that may be really good at that. I think you said you're going to have a whole entire episode on conversion therapy. So maybe that's somebody else's job, but it's not mine.
Yeah.
Because if your heart and your mind is turned in that direction, it's not my job to change it. In fact, you're the enemy.
Yeah.
So I'm going to make sure that me and my people are going to be okay.
That makes sense.
So they can do whatever the fuck they want. Excuse my language.
You know,
But
he's
I'm on a different mission. I'm on a different mission.
and
Protect and promote and defend our what we have, but also make sure that we're able to like I said, an underground, telephone trees, making sure that we have gender affirming medications. They're for life. They're for life. So, those things, healthcare, while everyone is going through this. Um, it's just there's so much that we actually can do.
so, in terms of getting through this, you're in Austin, right, with me, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right.
I know
So
it doesn't seem like it, but yes.
because you're everywhere, I had to make sure, but we are in the same city. So. Okay, so you mentioned, and I just want to backtrack. We have been talking about our nation, but I do want to get in your global mentality a bit here. So let's
Okay.
transition to that, and how does this message transcend? Because you know what I would love to see, and this is again me wishing and being the dreamer. We got all these dating apps, man. As much damage as people do to each other on Grinder and stuff, like that could be turned around to be communication. Is what I want to bring this back. Almost everything I see on Facebook or anything with a contest or whatever, it stems for some miscommunication, and I don't know how you really prevent a lot of miscommunications because now we're living in an age where misinformation is acceptable. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how we get people to learn like, hey, if you send a text message, it doesn't have a tone. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like little things like that. Because people get upset just from the words you choose and you don't mean it. And I think conflicts stem for that sometimes because people have a chip on their shoulder because they think someone has an attitude with them or someone in the community is not talking to them, so they don't like them, when easily it just would be like a chat. So I have seen, people in the community assume things without communicating it.
Yes, absolutely. And fixing some of these building bridges over these chasms is really important. We've been separate for too long. I wrote a book on communication, so I was sitting here laughing because some of the examples that you gave are actually in the book. But yeah, that was hilarious. I was like, for a second, I was like, is he leading up to that? Anyway,
My
um,
degree was communication studies.
got you, got you.
All right.
Um, so globally, everyone is looking at us going, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. They were just I was watching someone in Belgium speaking about how we've left. It doesn't matter. They're just all going, what the hell? And some are trying to figure out how they might come together against us if necessary. Um,
To be on the villain team, isn't it?
yes, yes,
You don't have to be
absolutely.
a villain. I did not sign up for that.
Yeah, that's where we are right now. Absolutely. We need to be twirling our little mustaches. Um, but that's where we are. This is not new to the rest of the world either. We still have 60 some odd countries where it's illegal or death sentence to be gay. This is not new. This has been going on. And it has happened to us and it happens to others. Here it's not a death sentence. Um, but at the end of the day, what we do now is going to resonate. Just the freedoms that we are afforded now, someone had to fight for those. The freedoms that we have now, someone had to sacrifice for that. And now it's our turn. We have been given the opportunity to step up and do what's necessary so that people can have even more than we did. This is our opportunity
I believe in that.
to be bigger than this moment, to be bigger than this one person, and to actually make a difference that's going to resonate with people generation after generation after generation. You think Stonewall was easy? But they did that shit. So what are we going to do? We have lived with the privilege of the sacrifices of those that came before us. And now we have the opportunity to step up and do what's necessary so that others can have more than we did.
You're right. That's what we're here for. We can do something. I know it's a tough challenge, but baby, I would love to be a part of history, the history that fought against this. I would love that. I would
Well,
love to.
guess what? You're here
I
because
know.
this is historic as fuck. So what we gonna do? That's what it boils down to. This is historic as fuck. So you want to make history? Boom, you got it. We're in the middle of an apocalypse. So yes. So get your machete, no, metaphorical, okay? And get ready to fight for your life.
Yeah, that's where we're at. We are. My mom gave me a little advice. She says you can look at your enemy, but don't digest your enemy. That's what she told me. So I'm very like I know what's going on, but I'm very, very hesitant about how I discuss information or anything going on just because, like it's we don't have they have done a job at muddling communication in this country in a way that we it's impossible to have any conversation that I can't talk. I'm not going to talk politics on Facebook, and then I'm not going to talk politics with a stranger right now. Like I want to engage the people that want to do something. I don't want to waste my energy with people that aren't even keeping up with what's going on, if that makes sense. I think that we waste so much time on Facebook, and I see it all the time. Oh, if you're and I'm not trying to be shady or anything like this, but announcing that you want everybody to unfriend you and all this type of stuff. Like I get it, but that like I said, me removing these people out of my viewpoint doesn't help them see who I am. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that everyone's like that, but for me, the bravery is to stick there, stay there, stand ground, and be like, I use this platform for all my social networking, especially with the leather community as of right now, until there's some mass exodus where we all decide we're going to leave these platforms, this is how we're communicating. But
Well,
when I'm
I
talking
suggest something
different,
different.
do
Do
what?
something. I want you to do something different. How many phone numbers do you know?
My heart.
Yes.
My mom's. I tell my friends to text me when I don't want anything to do with social media.
No, you need to do a phone tree. You need to write down the phone numbers of the people closest to you, your emergency people, etc. You need and everyone that you need to be in contact with because they're in your community. You need to have a phone tree in place because one day technology will be used against us. So that is going to be really, really important.
That's really
You
smart. Wow, that's amazing. You're
uh,
saying the tangible things. Yeah.
Also go see your elders and sit at their feet and have them explain to you how to survive this.
Yeah.
Because guess what? They survived it. Go and speak to your elders, sit at their feet, and start having those conversations, and they can help guide you and mentor us in how we move forward because they've already done it. But anyway, I just wanted to throw those things out there.
Yes.
Um,
Oh, you're
Yeah,
great.
and whatever the need is. In Austin right now, the getting a hold of necessary medications isn't as difficult because we have some support systems in place, Ashwell, et cetera. But stockpiling some of these medications is going to be really important. So, prepping that, figuring out where you're going to keep it, all those things are important. So, get with your groups, put a phone tree together, know how to communicate without all of this. Burner phones are going to be important soon. There's a lot. And so getting those things in place becomes really important. We're going to make it through this and we're going to do it together.
Thank you. Yeah, and thank you for saying these things and making them understand what the future might look like for us. Because they don't, a lot of people can't see the future, but you see it. I'm so grateful that you're saying these things because, like I said, this is how we got to think. This is where we are, and it's okay. It's okay. But like you said, being prepared for this. Yeah. So I am very grateful for you to be doing this interview. We're at the end. You gave me everything I need. I know you gave the community everything I need. Of course, I want you to come back on this show. Come
I will
back
be honored.
when you settle a little bit from your SASH time. We'll come back and see how things are. But being that's it, guys. I thank you so much. Thank you for your bravery. Thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for always putting the community and what the community means first. I don't ever see you anything but bringing happiness and safety. So thank you for that. Thank you.
It's my goal. I fail every day, but it is my goal to try to do my part. So thank you for that.
So there's one last thing you gotta do, guys, before I let you go, and I'll make everyone do it now. You're going to close the show. So when I count to three, you're going to
I
say.
know what to say. I know what to say.
All right, you ready?
Yes.
One, two, three.
If you're not throwing light, you're not acting right.
You did it the best. You were ready. Goddess, man, come on. You nailed that.
Thank you.
Everybody, this is the one. This is her. This is my role model right here. This is my role model right here in front of my eyes. Thank you
Oh,
so
well, I see
much.
one of mine on the chat actually. Sir Raven.
Hey, Sir Raven.
Sir Raven is the bomb diggity.
Hi,
Anyway,
I'm sorry my camera's not on. It's broken. I am so sorry. And I'm sorry I'm late, Goddess Indigo. It's so fantastic to hear you. I'm so glad that you're giving up this advice. I was just
oh,
telling somebody about that just the other day, that we've
well,
done
we
this before and we're gonna get through this. And to get
abs-
off to meet in person, to have the phone tree, you were absolutely right.
absolutely. This is necessary. We have a lot of work to do. But Sir Raven, I'm going to reach out to you right after that. I wanted to speak to you anyway.
Uh-oh. Bye.
No, thank you to the guests that were here that watch it. Thank you guys, and I'll see you soon. Everybody that's been throwing light, and she already closed us out. Bye. Bye, y'all.
Bye.